Do you all know that the Prophet ﷺ's wives, they had two groups? The wives of the Prophet were two camps. Yes, the hadith is in Sahih al-Bukhari. The wives of the Prophet ﷺ were two hizb. Hizb Umm Salamah and the hizb of ʿＡ'ishah. That's what the narration mentioned. Are we all together, brothers? They even had a quarrel one time as two groups. Let me tell you the story. Our mother ʿA'ishah radiallahu ta'ala anha, when the Prophet was in her house, the Prophet would always receive gifts. He would receive gifts when he's in Aisha's house. All the other wives, the Prophet won't receive gifts in their house. And the Sahabas would only do it when he's at the night of Aisha's house. They would come, give the gifts. So the Sahabas became a bit upset by the Sahabiyat. The wives of the Prophet ﷺ became upset. That's not fair. Why is he always receiving gifts at the house of Aisha? What about us? Why not us? So they spoke amongst themselves, the other camp, and they said, we need to address this issue to the Prophet. So they sent Umm Salamah radiallahu ta'ala anha. They said to Umm Salamah, you go and speak to him about this issue. She said, I will, no problem. Umm Salamah went radiallahu ta'ala anha. She spoke to the Prophet about it. She said to the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, this is not fair. You only receive gifts in the house of who? Our Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha. And when you're with our house, nothing comes to you. Is it not? The Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam ignored Umm Salamah. Second time, she brought it up again. He ignored it. He didn't want to address it. Then Salamah, she came back to the other wives and she said, the Prophet ﷺ, he didn't respond to me. He didn't say anything. They said, okay, do it when he comes to your night. So the night when he came to her house, she addressed it to the Prophet ﷺ again. He also tried to avoid it. When she repeated it again and again and again, he looked at her and he said to her, Wallahi, Salamah, Wallahi, Jibreel did not come to me with the revelation in the bed or the house of someone other than Aisha. It is only Aisha's house that Jibreel came to me with revelation. In other words, Aisha has something over all of you. Do not, talk to me about this issue. Salamah, she said, Ya Rasulullah, please, I apologize, forgive me, I shouldn't have brought this up. Astaghfirullah, I ask Allah for forgiveness, and she didn't. The other women are waiting, right? So when she comes back, they say, hey, what did he say to you? She said, look, I spoke to him, I'm not going to bring it up to him again. They said, no, this is not a good answer. We need an answer from the Prophet. We want this to stop. Then they made the decision to send Fatima, the daughter of the Prophet. Fatima, can you go and talk to your dad? She said, no problem. She came to her dad and she spoke to her dad. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ya Fatima, la tukallimni fi sha'ni Aisha. Do not speak to me about the issue of Aisha. Do not bring this up to me. This harms me, he said, Aisha, Fatima. Do you want to harm me? Don't bring this issue up to me. She said, Dad, forgive me. And she came back to the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. She told them that I spoke to the Prophet. They said, no, please go back again. And she said, no, I'm not going to go back. Then they said within themselves, hey, who's going to go? Zainab bint Jahsh said, Zainab said, I'm going to go. I'm going to speak to him. I need to say this. This needs to be addressed. Zainab came to the Prophet ﷺ, and our mother Aisha was sitting there. When Zainab walked in, Zainab raised her voice very, very high. And she said what she wanted to say. And the Prophet was silent, not saying anything. Then he looked at our mother Aisha, and Aisha, she said, I realized he was giving me permission to talk. And the Prophet looked at Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha, because Zainab, she was angry and she was also harsh to our mother Aisha. And she would say very harsh things to Aisha, but Aisha was there. So the Prophet looked at Aisha. Aisha said, I looked at the Prophet and I realized he was giving me permission to talk. Aisha, she said, I started to speak. And I spoke and I said my bit, hatta askattuha, until I silenced Zainab. She couldn't respond to me. Then the Prophet ﷺ, he laughed. He said, Wallahi innaha binti Abi Quhafa. Wallahi, she's the daughter of Abu Bakr. She's like her father. Wallahi, she is from him. Yani Abu Bakr. The point I want from the story is that the Prophet loved ʿā'ishah. Everyone knew that he loved ʿā'ishah. ʿā'ishah knew that the Prophet loved her the most. The Prophet told everybody that he loves ʿā'ishah. This was public knowledge. Sah? With that being said, ʿā'ishah said, I was always jealous of Khadija. And I never met her in my life. That was the only woman he would always mention. And one day he mentioned her in the presence of our mother Aisha. She said, كَأَنَّكَ, it's like as though you've never seen any other woman, and you've never been, Aisha saying this, that you've never seen any other woman, or you've never been married to any other woman except Khadija. And then he looked at me and he said, Wallahi innaha hi, Wallahi she is this, and she is this, and she is this, and she's the mother of my children. All of his children, majority, all of them, they came from who? Khadija radiallahu ta'ala anha, except Ibrahim, who came from Maria al-Qibtiyya. The rest, they came from who? They came from Khadija. So why am I mentioning this? Khadija falls under az-zawjah, as-salihah, righteous wife. If you have a wife who is righteous, you could lose your job. You come home, she will say, Subhanallah, for 10 years you've been providing for us. Now you lose your job and we don't have money and anything. Khalli wali. Allah will provide. Your provision is in the sky. Allah will not forsake us. She will say to you, but make sure you look for halal for us. Like in the one who's not like that, she will say to you, no, we need to take money from the bank. We can't live like this. You see, I kept telling you, take that house on mortgage. You never listened. Now if we had that house on mortgage, and she'll take you down a dark road, and etc. A righteous wife. The Prophet, look what he said, and this is the righteous wife. This is the wife that will give you tranquility, brothers. Those of you who are married, you're already in trouble. Those who are not married, you can make your decisions now, inshallah. May Allah protect our wives for us and preserve them. The Prophet was asked, Ayyun nisa'i khayrun. Brothers who are going to get married, those of you who are going to get married. This is the Prophet's answer. When he was asked, what is the best woman? Listen what he said. The Prophet is going to define the best woman. So if you're going to get married, look for this. He says, Allati tasurruhu idha nadara. When you look at her, she makes you happy. That's one. So is it important for you to be attracted to the woman physically? From the hadith, yes. And she puts the effort in, and she strives to make you happy. That's what she does. She wants to make your eyes enjoy it. وَتُطِيعُهُ إِذَا أَمَرَ. And when you command her, she says, what do you want me to? سَمْعًا وَطَاعًا. I listen and I obey. She says that to you. وَلَا تُخَالِفُهُ فِي نَفْسِهَا. And she doesn't disobey with you regarding her affairs. وَمَالِهَا بِمَا يَكْرَهُ. And the wealth, the money, everything of yours, she will what? It's yours. What do you want to do with it? How do you want to? The woman who's like that, my brothers and sisters, is exactly what Allah tabarak wa ta'ala, or Allah mentioned, وَمِنْ آيَاتِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. Brothers, I'm going to say something, and I hope inshallah it doesn't get me in trouble. These things, they get cut up and then they get put around, and then make sure you put it in context of what I'm saying. But great number of scholars mention when a house is lacking tranquility, majority of the times it is because of the woman. Why? Because the ayah says, وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, from the signs of Allah, أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا. So that the man finds tranquility through her. She's the one who's meant to bring tranquility to what? The house. Are we all together, brothers? She's meant to calm the house down. When the man goes bazaar and she's calming the situation down. She brings him water. She says, relax. Subhanallah. She calms the situation what? Down. So sisters should take this very serious. That they're the ones that need to make tranquility or bring tranquility in the house. It doesn't mean that the sisters are always the wrongdoers and the criminals. There are many men who fall short and don't do what is upon them. But the ayah, from the zahir of the ayah, many of the scholars, they took from it that the sakina and the waqar and the joy and the tuma'nina that is missing from the house, the woman needs to bring it, right? Are we all together, brothers?